Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
Today, the Giants played their first game, and Jackson Dart all but started the game because Russ came out first drive, and we're hearing at the beginning of this game. I'm frustrated because like Darius Slayton isn't out there, Malik Neighbors isn't out there. He's nursing the toe. Jalen Hyatt isn't out there. So we're missing three of our four top receivers. Wandale was out there for like a couple of plays, but for the most part, our receivers weren't out there. So I'm like, we're not going to get to see the real offense. Cam Scatterbo is still, dealing with an injury. I think he has a hamstring or something, but Cam Scatterbo has an injury. So we're missing a lot of the exciting pieces of our offense, but they look pretty good. They look pretty good. Tyrone Tracy caught a couple passes, ran for a first down. Nothing special, but Russ basically led us on a field goal drive. So it was a good drive. It wasn't a great drive, good drive from Russ. And then right after Russ finishes that first drive, Jackson Dart rolls right out there. Now I was expecting Dart to get a pretty good amount of playing time today, but I wasn't expecting him to come out right after Russ. I was thinking they would do it like in order of, in order, just in general. I thought they would do it in order of ranking for as far as the quarterback position. But Dart came out second. They wanted to get him some reps with what was left of the first team and mostly guys who are going to be playing on the second team. But he got to go out there for a little while with the first team offensive line. And again, that includes, James Hudson, who's not going to be our left tackle, hopefully week one. And hopefully Andrew Thomas is out there. But that includes a lot of those guys. So Jackson Dart got out there and had some nice throws. He had some nice throws right off the bat. We got behind the sticks a couple of times, but Dart kept on getting us first downs, kept on taking us down the field. I think he led us to a field goal first drive. Then comes out there the second drive, makes a couple of first downs. Really was using the tight ends and we were using the screen game a little bit. But he also, again, there were some second and long, some third and longs where he was stepping up in the pocket and either running to make things easier, or running for a first down, or completing a pass to get that first down. And then all of a sudden, we're dropping back. I think it's third down or second and long or something. And he just throws an absolute beautiful go ball to little Jordan Humphrey on the left sideline. I mean, it was beautiful. A go ball down the left sideline. And little Jordan Humphrey, it has basically no separation from the receiver. But the way that Jackson Dart threw this football, there was pretty much no other choice from Lil Jordan Humphrey to catch that ball. He had no other option but to catch it. So beautifully placed ball. I'm not sure if Lil Jordan Humphrey is going to make the roster, but I have liked some things I've seen from him in training camp and just his history in the NFL. He's a big receiver. We don't have a lot of those guys, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes the roster. But really nice catch from him, but an amazing throw from Jackson Dart. I would say the best throw of the day on either side, and out of pretty much all the preseason games, that was probably the best throw I've seen this preseason. And there's been like what 7 preseason games, so really nice stuff there from Jackson Dart. Again, he used his legs, he moved around in the pocket. His stats were 12 for 19, 154 yards, a touchdown, and 24 yards rushing. And again, that's in a quarter and a half. So basically, that's like the equivalent of if you played the whole game. You don't know if he keeps it up or not, but if you played the whole game, that's like a 300 plus yard game, which the explosive plays that we got today from Jackson Dart mostly, but the other guys too at times, that just completely outpaces the explosive plays that we were getting from Daniel Jones and company. It just outpaces it by far. His average depth of completion, not target, but completion was around 8.3 or 8.4, which is pretty good. And I was just excited to see some things being done, the ball being moved downfield by Jackson Dart, and he looked better than Daniel Jones did yesterday for the Colts. So that was all fun. Had a couple passes that were a little inaccurate. Had some passes that got batted, but he'll clean that up. And really good stuff I saw from him. And for the most part, everything aside, what I want to see from young quarterbacks is what I want to see from all quarterbacks is decisiveness. And Jackson Dart was extremely decisive. He made decisions You didn't see a lot of second guessing. Maybe one throw I thought he held it way too long, but other than that, he was making his decision and getting rid of the football. So I really appreciated that. On top of Jaxson Dart, Abdul Carter, our other first round pick, the other first round pick who was drafted top 3 but got buried because we took a quarterback. Abdul Carter, man, I've just been so excited to see this guy get unleashed. And I cannot wait for week 1 when we get like a full game of reps from this dude because 6 reps today for Abdul Carter. Barely was out there. 6 reps, which is funny. He's a rookie. And it just shows how confident they are in Abdul Carter already that he had 6 reps today. Like they don't need to see any more. They don't think he needs any more reps. He had 6 reps today. And on 3 of those reps, he was resting the passer. The first time he was resting the passer, he was at 3 tech on, I think, 3rd down. Basically, got by the guard pretty easily. The guard kind of had a hold of him. I don't know if it was a holding call, but he kind of had a nice hold of him. Initially had him blocked up, and then Carter just like dips around him, and he's in the quarterback's face. That's your first pressure. And then the next 2 pressures was on Deion Dawkins, the Pro Bowl left tackle for the Bills, who had the best offensive line last year. The Against the Bills, I'm not sure who was out there starting today. I didn't see like the entire roster of offensive linemen, but if Deion Dawkins is out there, I'm assuming everyone else who was healthy as far as offensive line was out there. So our defensive line in general manhandled that offensive line. But Abdul Carter, on every single play he was out there resting a passer, he got to the quarterback. He didn't sack him, but he did cause a pressure, cause a quarterback to move, or cause him to get rid of the ball early. And that's what we want to see from Abdul Carter. Keep doing what he's doing. And, lovely stuff we out there. But as far as the defensive line, going back to it, we shut down the run. We rest the passer every single snap, and linebackers behind them were filling gaps beautifully. The safeties were coming up, Holland and Nubin coming up. And when they had to make tackles, they were making tackles. But our defensive line controlled the line of scrimmage. And that was without Dexter Lawrence. Roy Robertson Harris looks like he's going to be a really good signing for us. He really is looking like a player that's going to be stingy against the run, that also gets some one-on-ones in the rush game, like in the pass rush game, and he was pushing the pocket. So Roy Robertson Harris, I think Andre Patterson, our defensive line coach, was like excited. He was saying he was excited to work with him because he felt like there was a lot of things that he could be doing that he wasn't doing as far as rushing the passer, and he looked good today. He was disruptive. I saw him out there, in the mix of some things a couple of times where I really felt like he was being disruptive, disrupting plays. So really exciting to see that from Roy Robertson Harris, because that means that if Dex isn't playing for some reason, knock on all the wood that you can find, you have a guy that, of course, is not Dexter Lawrence, but was being disruptive and more disruptive than I've seen any other defensive tackle in a long time. Didn't really notice Darius Alexander out there, even though I know he played, but I'll look at the tape to see how he ended up playing. But yeah, the defensive line in general shut down the run, got a nice rush, and this is against a very good offensive line. Even if they were, some starters were sitting, Deion Dawkins was out there and he couldn't block Abdul Carter. So what do you think is going to happen when Abdul Carter is going against guys who aren't Pro Bowl left tackles? I want you to think about that. So moving on, I talked about the linebackers and safeties and how good they were tackling, but as soon as that first team defense came out of the game, that second team defense looked horrible. Now, they were playing against a lot of starters, but that's no excuse. They gave no resistance at all. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. Deonte Banks was in there when a lot of those second team guys were out there. He gave up a crosser. He gave up another deep pass on the sideline where he had actually amazing coverage, and the receiver ended up making a one-handed catch. He couldn't get both feet down, but still, it's just like, turn your head around, man. But beyond that, the second team defense, no resistance at all. Mr. Trubisky just went right down the field, and until they started taking more of the first team guys out, there was no resistance from that defense. So that's concerning. It does make me feel a little bit better because with Dex out, that pushes people up the depth chart as far as defensive tackle. But nonetheless, if we're in a situation where these guys have to be out there, that's something I'm worried about because there was no resistance at all. And with the schedule we have, you know, we cannot afford to be a pushover on defense at all. We'll be historically bad with the schedule we have this year. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. Taking a look at my notes, the run game on our end, as far as us running the ball, was not that great. Now I don't have the final box score stats, but last time I looked, Jaxson Dart was our leading rusher at 24 yards. That's not good. That's not good. Dante Miller looked good in the screen game. Tyrone Tracy looked good in a little bit of time he was out there, but he got 3 carries for 9 yards, picked up a first down in that time, and I think caught a screen. But other than that, the run game didn't look as good as I would like it to look. Again, we did move guys as far as the short yardage goes, but I want the run game to look a little bit better than it looked today. We got to have a guy with more than 24 yards rushing. So that's something I want to call out, and hopefully we can get back to running the football, especially when we get a guy like Scatterboo back out there. And really looking at Dante Miller again, didn't have a ton of opportunity as far as holes and running the ball. And every time there were holes, it was that guy Jonathan Ward who we just signed, and he tripped a couple of times where he had wide open holes. We were like, if Dante Miller gets that hole, Turbo gets that hole, he's gonna score. And he just didn't get that today. But as far as the screen game goes, looked great in the screen game. 80 yards receiving today. And again, I didn't look at like the last 2 minutes of the game or last like 3 or 4 minutes of the game. If Turbo Miller ended up getting 100 yards receiving, that's great. But still, 80 yards in a receiving game, all on screens. But it just shows you put this guy in space and he can make things happen. So I want to see this guy make the roster because we don't have a home run hitter at running back that we're saying is going to make the roster. Singletary is not a home run hitter. He's an all around back. You know, your guy who's solid at everything. He's good to have on the depth chart, sure. But you got Tyrone Tracy, who's a little bit more shiftier, a little faster than Singletary, but not a guy that's like he's going to hit the home run consistently. And then Scatterboo, he's not going to hit the home. He's like a 4-6 guy. Going to break a bunch of tackles, but he's like a 4-6 guy. So having Turbo Miller out there to change the pace up sometimes, where he just touches the ball and he's gone in a blink. We need that in the backfield. We really need that in the backfield, and hopefully this can be the year that Turbo Miller makes the roster. Montrell Washington, another name that stood out to me. He's been standing out in practice, in training camp, and he's got some chemistry with Jaxson Dart. And when this guy catches the ball, he's good after the catch. Good after the catch, good in the return game. So he's a guy that I'm looking out for that could make this roster because he's shown some good hands. He had a drop today, which is funny. But other than that, in training camp, he showed some good hands and he showed that he can make something happen after the catch. And we don't have a lot of depth at slot. And I think he can be an asset there at slot receiver. So Montrell Washington continues to jump off the page for me. Thomas Fidone, high pointed a pass from Jameis Winston today for a 2-point conversion, and he high pointed another one for a first down. And this guy, when he high points a pass, he really high points it. The guy's like 6'6" or 6'6", and he really uses his entire frame and jumps to catch passes out of the air where I'm like, Jameis just airmailed that. Like he airmailed it. It's way too high. But he actually got up there a couple of times and made those catches. So he showed that he can make plays in the pass game. A lot of people are concerned about this guy, if he can do what he does in the NFL. And I think his frame is very, very advantageous. Very similar frame to Greg Dulcich, who I wanted on the Giants coming out of the draft and is now a Giant and has some speed on him, has some receiving ability. But I think he's a clone of Fidone. And I think Fidone, since we just drafted him, is going to make this roster. But it's always good to have that 6'6" tight end that can go up and grab the ball out of the air. And you got Theo Johnson. You got two huge tight ends. So would love to see him. He's going to make this roster. He has to make this roster. But two nice catches there from Fidone. And, Jameis trusted this guy enough to throw him the ball, 30,000 feet in the air almost. And him snatch it out of the air. He trusted him for that. So that shows a lot for a rookie and a vet quarterback. And then the Giants putting up 34 points is rare, even in a preseason game. So I feel like we're turning the corner. I don't know what this year is going to bring for us. I'm not sure. We could win 5 games. We could win 3 games. Anything could happen. We could win 10 games. But one thing that I'll say I'm leaving this game certain of is that pass rush and this defensive line, this first team defensive line is legit. It looked like Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke are ready to go back there. Looks like they got a lot more confidence. They're flying out there, hitting guys. It looks like they're ready to go. It looks like that starting defense is ready to go. And if we can get some consistency, I'm not going to say the H word about, hospitals and all that stuff. If we can get some consistency from that defensive unit as far as guys showing up there every week, not having to be in a cold tub and missing time, if we can get that from them for a full season, or guys, if everybody there as far as starters can play 14 games for us, this defense is going to be amazing. Don't know what the offense is going to do. Haven't seen Leak out there, haven't seen Slay, haven't seen all these other guys. But if we can get that defense out there for a full season, man, this offense is going to be, they're going to have a lot of help, and this team is going to be able to compete with anybody. Because listen, I'm wishing Rashawn Slater a full recovery, a speedy recovery. That dude is amazingly fun to watch. But him going out for the Chargers and us playing them week 3 or week 4 or something like that, they're not going to have that all pro left tackle there. Him going out and then Abdul Carter and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau over there, that is just freakishly scary for opposing teams. And that can change if they can't set up to throw the ball downfield, and Herbert can't do what he did last time where he makes that spectacular throw down the middle of the field, deep down the middle of the field against us. If they don't have time to do that, that changes the complete trajectory of games. So if we can see this sort of dominance that we started to see, that we got a glimpse of today, I really think we're gonna have a chance in every single game. Don't know how much that chance will help us with what the offense is gonna be doing, but we will have a chance. So I'm taking away today that the defense looks legit. Jaxson Dart looked promising. And you all let me know what your favorite part of today's preseason game was, and what you left feeling the best about and feeling the worst about. I definitely say, like I said, I mentioned the Jaxson Dart and the defensive line. Those things really stood out to me, and a couple of players I highlighted. But yeah, that run defense of that second team looks scary to me, and we got to stay healthy right there. Got to stay healthy to there. But the offense looked pretty good. Even with backups out there against the Bills starters, offense looked pretty good. So here's the hoping that this can translate over into some productive wins and a fun season. But see you all. I should be putting out a film session whenever I can get the tape. But besides that, I'll be back to break down next week's game, and hopefully we continue to see some fun stuff in this preseason. Football is back. Let's go.